So joining me now is my good friend of freedom and good friend to the taxpayers, Kris Sims of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Now, Kris was on the show last week pre-election to break down the economic platforms of both parties. Now we know the election outcome. Despite our best efforts out here in the West, we will have Mark Carney as the minority Prime Minister of Canada. And I want to know what that means now for my and your family's bottom line. Kris, thanks for coming on the show. Do I have to get real good at strangling geese in a public park? What comes next?
Of course, what she's talking about is this study that the Privy Council, which is basically the permanent bureaucracy of the Prime Minister's office, they came out with a study saying, yeah, things are going to get really grim in the future, not too far in the future, where people will have to forage for food in public parks. And I love how you said strangle geese, Sheila, because of course, Mark Carney wants to take all of our guns.
Right.
So we won't be able to hunt for our elk anymore, or moose or whatever. Even pheasant, I guess, will be off the menu because they're harder to catch. We're going to have to go to the slow moving geese and just choke them out.
Yeah.
So in all seriousness, for the finances, yeah, we're probably in for a bit of trouble with Carney, but I wanted to give people a pep talk first. Okay?
Yes, please.
This is a very slim minority. Okay. It is not nearly as strong a minority that Trudeau had with Singh. Okay. Yes, I'm looking at the seat math, as I call it. It doesn't look awesome because it looks as if the NDP will be able to support the Liberals, at least on a vote-by-vote basis.
And they don't deserve that. They do not deserve that. They completely collapsed, and they're the reason Mark Carney got the seats that he did. They don't deserve now to continue to hold the balance of power, which is, at the end of the day, holding the electorate hostage.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen for a while, at least. And as of right now, the NDP doesn't have a leader. So I would say for the foreseeable future, that's what's going to happen, is they'll just kind of vote along to get along with him, with Carney. So that's a thing. But to the points that people have been sharing around the last couple of days, the conservative vote, if that's what you were going for, okay, the conservative vote was so high. Like when Stephen Harper won his majority, I think he got about 39.6% of the vote. Maybe a little less, but it was 39. Pierre Poilievre, I think it was close to 42 or 43%.
Yep.
By the end of it. So he hit such a high watermark. We haven't seen that big a popular vote for the blue team since the 80s. Like Hangin' Tough was like number one on the charts with New Kids. Sorry, I have to work New Kids into our hit because it makes me happy. Hangin' Tough was topping the charts back in the day when the last time the Conservatives pulled this high. And the reason why I'm pointing that out is because, of course, Pierre Poilievre was promising to get rid of all carbon taxes, so nuke the carbon tax from orbit. He was promising to reverse all of the gun grab laws, which would have been awesome. He was promising to get rid of all of the censorship laws, which is, again, outstanding, and we need that for our free expression. And he was going to defund the media, which is a huge factor here. So this is why I understand the vast majority of our viewers right now will be kind of wondering what's next. So what I think is going to happen next is, I believe, this is my hunch, I have not talked to them, I believe that Pierre Poilievre will have to find a dark blue seat, so he'll have that monkey off of his back. He'll officially have a seat back in the House of Commons, and this has happened before. There's been cases where we've had political leaders, obviously, who don't have seats in the legislature or parliament
Jagmeet
before.
Singh didn't.
Sure, exactly, exactly. Danielle Smith didn't when she first became premier. Yes. So
Jim Prentice. Jim Prentice neither.
Yes. Yeah. So this does happen. Was it a scorpion sting at the end of the day for him? Yeah, for sure. That would have been really rough to see those numbers. Yeah, but fixable. So what he needs to do is he needs to find now, and this is just structurally, this would happen if it were any party.
Right.
So in this situation, what the party leader does is they find a loyal soldier to take, fall on the sword and offer up their seat. And then what they need to do is they need to file for their request to have a by-election. And then it is up to the prime minister when a by-election in that riding is called. Typically, in tradition, it's within 3 to 6 months.
Right.
So really fast. However, Pierre Poilievre is still the official, His Majesty's official loyal opposition leader. He'll stay in Stornoway. That's his official residence. None of that changes. For him, his wife, and his kids, all that stuff will stay the same right now. But technically, he does obviously want to get a seat back in the House of Commons.
As quick as possible.
Yes, as quick as possible.
There's nothing I would enjoy more as a parliament nerd than seeing Pierre Poilievre axe murder that robotic prime minister that we have in question period, which is why I think Carney will, and he loves to use hockey analogies, rag the puck on that by-election as long as possible. Because I think the more people get to see his bad performances in the House of Commons, the less people are going to like him.
He can try. I think that would upset an awful lot of people, including...
I don't think he cares.
Yeah, maybe not. But I'm trying to pep talk here, Sheila.
I'll stop being the doom scroller of this interview. I'll stop.
I was texting her on election night. I'm like, cheer up, damn it.
I knew.
I know. But it was early. It was the Nova Scotia numbers, the initial ones we were seeing. And I was seeing, at the time, a 4-seat gain. It turned into not be a 4-seat gain in Atlantic Canada for the Conservatives. But anyway, I digress. So first things first, I believe structurally what they're going to do is find Pierre Poilievre a safe seat to run in, get the by-election done. 2, I think the answers are still the same and the arguments are still the same. It's about affordability. Like, normal people cannot afford basic elements of life here. And so I think the 2 elements will be affordability and the strangling control of Ottawa.
Yeah.
And so with affordability, they need to keep on fighting to get rid of the industrial carbon tax, which he is going to roll out any second now.
Yeah.
And it is going to be mega expensive. We're trying to find out how expensive. Okay. 2, he's going to introduce his brand new carbon tax tariffs, which are separate and apart from the industrial carbon tax. So this, for folks who don't know, Carney loves carbon taxes so much. He describes them as a cornerstone to his belief system for the world. And that's in his book. Anyone who's not read his book yet, pitter patter.
Yeah.
You must. I'm sorry, borrow it from the library if you don't want to give him money. Get your hands on Mark Carney's book. Read this thing. Yeah. Because he's now the prime minister and he's got a very good chunk of seats in the House of Commons. And it looks like it's going to be that way for a while.
And he kept the climate radicals, you know.
He did. All of them
the
are
same
there.
Old Trudeau climate radicals are going to be in his cabinet too.
Guilbeault is there. All the anti-oil people, all the anti-energy people, all the anti-production people. They're all there. I'm sorry, but they are. Yeah. So the elements we will be focusing on are the industrial carbon tax that goes along with carbon tax tariffs, which are going to make stuff in your store cost more because Carney's going to hit them with a tariff. The censorship laws, okay, which he is a huge fan of, okay. We will be fighting those. We'll be fighting to defund the media because obviously people can't be on government payroll and still be a journalist. It's a huge conflict of interest and a big waste of money.
And we saw that at play in this election.
Mm-hmm. You did.
I literally did.
I know. You literally did. Yeah, I saw. I think, did you have to duck? Maybe I dreamt that part. I was watching your video.
People were throwing paper.
Goodness gracious. This is like a bad cafeteria scene in a 1980s movie. So the elements we will be fighting are things like the industrial carbon tax, the new carbon tax tariffs that are going to make your life more expensive. We're going to fight the censorship on one side of the vice and the funding of the media on that other side of that vice. We're going to be fighting the gun grab. Okay. Those are all still very strong elements of this fight. And to give people some encouragement here, and again, this is going along with the fact that in this case, the blue team was going to reduce how much they were putting down on the debt. They were going to reduce your taxes more than the red team. They were going to scrap all the carbon taxes. They were going to scrap the gun grab, and they were going to cancel the censorship plans, all of those things. If the red team had been pushing for all of those things in earnest all this time, I'd be saying the same thing. So
Let's face it, Canada's economy isn't heading in the right direction. Inflation's eating away your savings, and government debt is out of control. No politician is going to fix that overnight. With Guildhall Wealth, you can hold real, physical gold and silver inside your RRSP. It's a time-tested way to protect your retirement and take back control of your wealth. Call 1-877-8-SILVER or visit guildhallwealth.com/rebel to request your free investor kit. And hey, make sure to mention Rebel News.